Hello, mortals. I am here to tell you another story from the endless myths of Greece. So let's begin. Once upon a time, in a world where love was more important than anything, lived a man named Cephalus. Now, he was not just any man. Oh no. He was so handsome that even the gods would stop their busy work just to take a good look at him. In fact, when Aphrodite, the goddess of love, saw Cephalus, she fell head over heels in love with him and decided to make him immortal. And it wasn't one of those, you live for eternity, but only if you promise to stay faithful kind of deals either. Oh no, this was pure immortality, the kind where you don't have to worry about dying or growing old. You can party all night long, eat all the snacks you want, and still have a banging body. Now, you might think this is a happy ending right here. Boy meets girl. Boy and girl love each other very much, and they live happily ever after. But no, my little mythos. This is Greece we're talking about. So, of course, things didn't go quite as planned. You see, despite being a literal god, Aphrodite had a weakness, one fatal flaw that could bring her down like the mighty Zeus. She was jealous. Oh, how she hated seeing other gods meddling in human affairs, especially when it came to matters of love. You know how your parents used to get all huffy when you brought home a B on a test even though you studied for weeks? Yeah. Well, imagine being a god whose whole power is based on humans falling in love, and then having to deal with the fact that every single day some new mortal falls in love with someone else. That's like getting a C on a test after studying for an entire semester. It's a real mood killer. And let me tell you, she was not happy about it. One day, while strolling through the halls of Olympus, she stumbled upon the handsome Balder, son of the mighty Zeus himself. The two exchanged glances, and bam, love struck. They spent their days frolicking through the meadows of Elysium, their nights dancing at the hottest parties in town. Honestly, it was like the modern-day version of I Woke Up Like This except with better hair. But as you can probably guess, Aphrodite was not pleased. Here was this random dude who just happened to be related to the most powerful god in the Greek pantheon, waltzing around with her intended victim. Her chosen champion. Just the sight of them together was enough to set her off. So what did she do? Well, she called up her bestie, the messenger goddess Iris, and ordered her to come up with a plan to separate the star-crossed lovers. Now Iris was no fool. She knew that taking on Aphrodite in her current state was about as smart as challenging Hades to a chariot race while blindfolded. So she suggested playing the classic, let's put some clothes on your eyes trick. Aphrodite loved it. Iris swooped down to earth and picked out a pair of magical garments that would hide her goddess's face, making her look like any ordinary woman. Then she returned to Olympus with the disguise in hand and got straight to work. While Balder was out fetching ambrosia from the garden of the Hesperides, she slipped the magic cloak on Aphrodite's face and waited for him to return. Now, my little mythos, you already know this story isn't going to end well for anyone involved. We're talking about Greek mythology here. So, when Balder came back and found his beloved covered in magic clothes, what did he do? That's right. He took her to bed. Now, don't get me wrong. Balder was a stand-up guy. He didn't have a clue that the woman he was sleeping with was actually a disguised goddess. He truly believed he was having a one-night stand with a random mortal. But you know what they say about assumptions. Well, you know what they say. In the morning, Aphrodite shed her disguise and confronted Balder, who was understandably shocked to find out that he had slept with a goddess. But you know what? She was in a forgiving mood. After all, she had gotten her revenge on Balder by humiliating him in front of everyone on Olympus. And, as a bonus, she also gave him a little special gift, a pair of wings, that would allow him to fly at superhuman speeds. Yeah, I know it sounds pretty messed up, but hey, now he could fly really fast. Meanwhile, Balder's brother, Odin, was busy being the god of wisdom and foresight. And by busy, I mean he was literally sitting on a tree stump doing absolutely nothing. Suddenly, a raven landed on his shoulder and croaked loudly. Odin looked at the bird and saw a vision of Balder being attacked and killed by a snake. He tried to warn his brother, but Balder just laughed in his face. I mean, why would he listen to a tree-dwelling weirdo who talked to birds? So Odin had no choice but to keep quiet and watch as his brother met his demise. And that, my little mythos, is why tree stumps are still wet today. But wait, there's more. After Balder's death, Odin went to the land of the dead and made a deal with the ruler of the underworld, Hades. If Hades allowed Balder to return to Earth for just one day, Odin promised to bring him back forever. Hades agreed, but only because he was secretly in love with Balder's sister, Nanna. He thought he could win her heart if he showed her how easy it was to escape from hell. So he released Balder and sent him back to Earth. Odin raced to Balder's funeral and told everyone he had made a deal with Hades. All they had to do was light a giant funeral pyre, and Balder would come back to life. Everyone cheered and began gathering wood for the pyre. But then Nanna stepped forward and dropped a sad. She had been secretly in love with the god of the dead, and when Hades offered her a chance to join him in hell, she couldn't refuse. So while everyone was distracted, she slipped away and hid in the funeral pyre. When the fire was lit and Balder rose from the dead, he was overjoyed. He hugged and kissed his sister and then climbed into the burning pyre with her. As the flames engulfed them both, Nanna transformed into a raven and flew away. She had tricked Balder, and now she was off to spend eternity with her true love, Hades. Meanwhile, Balder was stuck in the burning pyre with no way out. He burned to death along with the funeral pyre, and the only thing that survived the flames was a single raven feather. And that, my little mythos, is why Balder is still associated with ravens to this day. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is Balder such a doofus? How does a god not realize he's dating a literal goddess? And why did he climb into the burning pyre twice? Well, let me tell you, it's not Balder's fault. See, back in the day, people didn't have Tinder or Hinge to meet their potential partners, so they had to rely on something called flirting. And let me tell you, flirting is a lot harder than it looks. One minute you're casually sipping your ambrosia, the next you're knee-deep in a thorny bush trying to hide from a rabid satyr. And let's not even talk about all the mixed signals you get from the gods. Take, for example, the time Zeus decided to flirt with poor old Tiresias. Just because he turned him into a frog for accidentally spilling ambrosia on him doesn't mean he wasn't interested. Come on, who hasn't spilled ambrosia on their crush? And don't even get me started on the whole climbing into the burning pyre thing. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of guts to do that, especially if you're a god. I mean, the last time Balder tried it, he ended up trapped in a burning pile of wood. So obviously, he learned his lesson and decided to try again. What kind of person would I be if I didn't root for that? Anyway, as they burned to death, Balder realized he had made a terrible mistake. He should have listened to Odin, stayed away from funeral pyres, and maybe taken a class on how to flirt without setting yourself on fire. But hey, who among us hasn't made mistakes, right? After they died, the gods held a huge funeral for them, complete with a massive feast and a poetry reading by none other than Homer himself. But of course, the food was ambrosia and nectar, not cupcakes and pizza, and the poetry was about the glory of the gods and not about how much they sucked. Still, it was nice of them to hold a funeral, especially for Balder, since he had basically become a meme at that point. I mean, you can only be resurrected from the dead so many times before people start losing interest. Anyway, that's all for today, my little mythos. If you like the story, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media for updates and sneak peeks. Until next time, remember, even gods can have bad hair days.